Welcome, friends, back to the arena. I am the Beard, and it's time for us to be bold again. We're going to pick up where we left off. We're not going to let this color challenge get the best of us. We're going to learn. We're going to overcome. Let's do it. I believe in us. You will not defeat us, Jace. No, you're my boy. Alright. I'm going to try something crazy. I'm going to play a mana. Because can't do anything if we don't play a mana. Here we go again. I think we got it this time. You know why? Because I believe. And I need you guys to believe with me too. Whip through this a little bit. We've all seen this before. If not, check out the last video. You can watch me just lose several times in a row to this blue deck. Gotta keep this guy back to block. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give him first strike and kill this Coral Merfolk when he ultimately swings in. We'll activate and Booyah. Perfect. Now, this guy here, we need to swing in. We're going to block. We're going to activate. First strike. We're going to give our blocked creature +2/+2. And we're going to clear the board. They're going to play another Air Elemental. There's nothing we can do about that. But we were almost able to cast our Ceratop. One more mana. Next turn. This was along the right track last video. We need to make sure that we swing in with the Ceratop and both of these Inquisitors at the same time after we've tapped all their creatures and give ourselves life link, and everything gets double strike. That's what we need to do. But in order to do that, we have to take a bit of damage here. Quite a bit of damage. But math is on our side. They will swing in for 4. We can't do anything about it. We will play the Ceratop. We will take 8 damage, go down to 4. And then I believe we can win. Because they will deal 2 each, double strike 4 each, 8, double strike 6, 14 damage exactly. It's going to be beautiful. Alright, here we go. Could play this Hallowed Priest, but it really doesn't do anything. We don't need to do it. Good old double strike. We did it, team. Woo! Alright. Return the cats to the collection. We got Fencing Ace, built-in double strike, 1/1, but hey, if we can boost up that attack damage, double strike is great. It can defend with double strike too, unlike the Ceratop, which only gets double strike if it attacks. And then another one of these inspiring commanders who like to draw cards for us. Excellent. We are going to take a look at our deck, because I think we have more than 60 cards now. Or... it takes out the Sanctuary Cats in order to put in the Inspiring Commander. We have 2 of them, 1 of them. So Inspiring Commander, whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life and draw a card. So let's have a quick look how many cards have 2 power or less. We've got 4 Stray Cats, or Charmed Cats. 2 of these, 6. 2 of these, or 4 of these, 10. We got a lot. So you know what? We do want to have an extra one of these because we would like to draw that when we have 6 mana so that we can start gaining life and drawing cards so we can get some of our other cards online. So we're good. Green. Here we go. Green is usually really big creatures that just stomp all over you. They aren't usually very fast. So if we can get some hits in with our fencing aces, I think we'll be okay. But it'll depend. Will we get a Knight's Pledge or some other enchantment to put on our guys? Don't know. Vigilance and reach. Yeah, so we can't swing in. That's just how that works. Now, we can definitely swing, cast this to give it +2/+2, make it a 3/3, which will then allow us to kill this treetop recluse, but our fencing ace will then die. So I don't know if that's exactly what we want to do. I don't know what their plan is, what Vivian's plan is, but we'll see. Okay. I think that's what we have to do, is just trade. I'm not going to do it yet. Might just feel this out. We might end up just losing this match. He doesn't have trample at least, so that's something. Trample allows the excess damage to go over top. Alright, well that's perfect. He's only hitting us for 1 damage, so we definitely have time to sort of figure out what we're going to do here. I think I want to save these until we can potentially guarantee that these fencing aces are going to survive. So like we can block Ward Scale Crocodile, because it only has 3 toughness. We can block it next turn with one of our fencing aces and use a tactical advantage, and we'll be okay. We could make it so that these treetop recluses one of them can't attack us anymore. However, I have a feeling they're going to play something bigger that we want to deal with, and we don't really care about that guy. So we're just gonna see. Yeah, that's what I figured. Didn't want to waste it. Okay. So that's something. So we're definitely going to play the Sarah Angel. And then we can start, when he goes to block, Treetop Recluse. Actually, that's just... Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. That's okay. And if they attack, we can block and put this on it. Okay. It's a bit of an issue, but okay. We are going to block with the fencing ace, because we don't want to take 8 damage. That's just a lot of damage. So we're going to end up losing the fencing ace. But we might be okay still. Definitely. Probably would have wanted to give the fencing ace this last turn so we could block and still keep the fencing ace. So we probably weren't supposed to play the Sarah Angel first. But we're going to go now. Do that. We're going to get rid of that recluse. We're going to hit for 8 damage because of the double strike on the fencing ace. And then we can still block the recluse if they choose to attack with it, but I don't think they will. They will. Interesting. Alright. All creatures able to block prized unicorn do so. Yeah, that's a bit irritating. But play that. We're gonna swing because we don't care about the 2 damage to the face, and we actually just win it anyways. Alright. Maybe, I don't know if that was the exact way we were supposed to play it, but it worked. So there you go. Sometimes Magic the Gathering is just all about stopping to think, or just thinking as you go. Angelic Guardian, not familiar with that one. Whenever one or more creatures you control attack, they gain indestructible. Well, that's pretty good. I don't know about you guys, but not having to worry about our creatures dying is pretty good. It's really good. I definitely like pacifism. I definitely want that. I want to keep the Knight's Pledge, I think, but we'll upgrade the deck. I think we're supposed to just keep upgrading it, but I do want to take a look. It's gonna a little change layout button up here, guys. I just did that without thinking about it, but when I'm building a deck, I do like to use this, but you know, it's harder to see which cards you have in the deck, like the pictures anyway. Sometimes I know the picture on the card, but I don't necessarily know the name. But you can just change the view, and then you got all your cards down here so you can see the pictures and sort of say, which card am I looking for? Oh yes, that one. So let's see here. We removed Knight's Pledge because of the upgrades. That's from one of the packs we opened, so it is available for us to use. Interesting. I think it is, unless it just happens to be a coincidence, but I think because everything else has got this set symbol of an A, that, and this one says M21. This is from that pack we opened at the end of the last video, I think. Not a bad card. I don't think we want to cut anything, take anything out of this deck to put this card in. Knight's Pledge, however. Let's see. So, Moorland Inquisitor. Not a huge fan of that card. I would much rather draw a Fencing Ace or a Hallowed Priest or an Impassioned Orator than a Moorland Inquisitor. But one thing we have to keep in mind is how many creatures do we have in this deck? It's nice having a bunch of enchantment auras that you can attach to your creatures, but if you don't actually have any creatures to attach them to, they're kind of just useless. They're just useless cards sitting in your hand. So what you can do is you can click for more details over here in our deck, and this is a nice little handy breakdown of what your deck is. So we actually have 25 creatures, which is a lot of creatures. We have 4 auras, so I believe that's two of the pacifisms, and then or 3 of the pacifisms, and 1 of those angelic ones, the 5 mana one that gives +3/+3 and flying. So that's not a lot, and we really want to make sure that our Fencing Ace gets some stuff attached to it, because if we get a Fencing Ace on turn 2, and then on turn 3 we attach this, so all of a sudden we have a 3/3 creature, because it gets +2/+2 from this, a 3/3 creature that then can attack and kill anything that has up to 6 toughness, right? That's pretty good. So I'm going to take out the Moorland Inquisitor. I'm going to put in the Knight's Pledge. I accidentally clicked on pacifism, I thought. Maybe I didn't. Thought I did. I did. So I want to put the pacifism back in, because we definitely want to stop their big creatures from swinging in on us. Or blocking us, potentially. So we got 60 cards. We got 2 less creatures, but we have 2 more non-creatures, because we now have 6 of these. Yeah, I think that's good. 25 lands. We don't really need 25 lands. Typically in a 60-card deck, you want anywhere between 23 and 24 lands. But it all really depends on the type of deck you're building. For instance, for us, we have an average of 2.9 mana cost. So you don't need tons of mana, generally speaking, to play our deck. You can see here on this graph, it tells you creatures, non-creatures, the color, how much of which mana cost we have. We have 14 that are mana cost 2. 22 of our total cards, so a third of our deck, is 2 mana or less, right? And so a third of our deck, well, over a third of our deck is lands. Just over a third of our deck is creatures that don't need a lot of land. So we could get creative here. You definitely can just play the deck as is, as they present it to you as you're going through these challenges, but it doesn't hurt to practice making a few minor tweaks. So we can definitely remove a land, I think. So then, what do we want to put back into the deck? We can definitely put another Knight's Pledge in. We have room for this guy now. Shrine Creepers, they don't really do anything. They're just 2/2s, no special abilities or anything. So nothing too fancy. And then the rest is just lands. So I'm probably going to put in another Knight's Pledge, to be honest with you. And then 24 lands should be plenty. So we're going to give that a go. And we're going to play whoever this person is. Against question marks. Alright. Who is that hooded figure? Apparently it's Liliana. Arguably one of the most popular planeswalkers in Magic the Gathering. Or maybe Wizards of the Coast just thinks she's popular and they keep reprinting her. But I think she's pretty popular. Who doesn't like a Necromancer, you know? Yeah, we're going to keep this hand. We're definitely going to play the Impassioned Orator. Oh yes, well, the next challenge we'll go over, I probably should have explained Keep versus Mulligan. Noted for next time. We're going to play our planes. We definitely want to get the Impassioned Orator out and online so that once we start playing creatures, we'll start getting a life every time we play a creature. And then this guy will immediately enter the battlefield as a 2/2 because we gain that life. So, definitely what we want to do here. Yeah, that's fine. Looks like we're playing the Mirror Match, a white deck, so far monocolored, single-colored. Except, we can definitely swing in. Because even if they block, we're not going to lose our Orator. What is the opponent going to do? And I do believe we're actually playing a real person, actually. I just realized that. I don't think this is actually a computer. So that's cool. I'm definitely going to play this. And we're going to swing because we could keep it back and wait until it becomes a 4/4. But if we attack and they choose to block with both creatures, so be it. They'll lose both creatures. So we'll get a 2-for-1, which is definitely in our favor. They choose not to. Okay. It's interesting to see what they have. What do you got, opponent? Ooh. Not concerned, because we have a pacifism. Beautiful card. We'll just play that on the Leonin Warlord and War Leader, and they won't be able to attack with it, so... Not concerned. We are definitely not concerned at all. So we're going to swing in with everything. Are they going to block? Who knows? They are not going to block. Okay. So even if they swing in here with what they currently have, 3 damage is not a big deal. Maybe they can gain a life or 2, so this guy will become a 2 or a 3/3. Not too bad. Okay, that's alright. Don't care too much about that. Land doesn't do anything for us. We're going to swing again, because we can definitely just kill their creatures if they choose to block. We got this tactical advantage. So we'll just keep the pressure on because they're not really doing anything. And now they're attacking. And if they have a creature, great. Even 2 creatures, fine. No, they've just decided that they've lost. Okay. Fair enough. Well, that was fairly simple. Alright. Congratulations, everybody. We just beat the color challenge white. And this is how they reward us. Experience points, so help us gain more rewards, go up in our mastery pass that we haven't purchased yet. 500 gold, which we can use to buy packs and whatnot. Good stuff. Another impassioned order of the cosmetic, so it takes away the border around the outside, expands the art a little bit, so you can make your deck look a little nicer if you do like this kind of thing. And we got some wild cards, which you can see up here. So every time you see those silver, blue, sometimes you get gold ones, sometimes you get red ones. They all end up showing up here. You can use those to craft cards. So, for example, in our white deck here, if I decided, you know what, I really would like another one of these angelic rewards in my deck. We only have one. We can find it up here. I can click on it, and you see a little highlight comes here, but it's not in the deck. It says not collected, but in deck. We've increased it, and we can hit this little craft all button if we wanted to get extras of that angelic reward. And the reason why we can get it is because we have 2 common and 1 uncommon wild card, and this is an uncommon card because you can see here the symbol that indicates what set the card has come from is silver. You also see there's gold, so you would need a rare wild card, which we don't have any. And if you see just either white or solid black icons, then you just have common cards. If you see red, which we unfortunately don't have any, so sad. If you see a red symbol instead of white or gold or silver, that is a mythic rare. So they're harder to get, but they're usually the most powerful cards in that particular set, or some of the most powerful cards. Sometimes Wizard of the Coast makes a card and puts it at a rarity of, say, uncommon, and it ends up actually being a really, really strong, broken card. And don't really realize it until they've already printed it. It doesn't happen that often, but occasionally it does. And then every now and again, when they go to reprint that card sometime in the future in another set, they might change the rarity, so they might up it to rare, or they might make a rare card that they decided wasn't actually that good, so they change it to an uncommon card so that you can pull it more often, but it's not valued as highly because it's considered uncommon now instead of a rare. That's more important when you're looking at getting into paper magic, because usually rares and the mythic rares are the most expensive cards that you can either pull from a box or a pack, or if you're going to a store to buy single cards, usually the rares and the mythics are the most expensive to buy singles of. That's not to say there aren't rares that are not very expensive. Even if you find one that's not very good or not very in demand because it's not played very often by people that are professionals, or the market just doesn't demand it, you're probably looking at about 25 cents to 50 cents, depending on where you go. To get a rare, uncommons and commons are usually anywhere from 5 cents to 25 cents. Mythic rares, they can even be 50 cents as well, which feels really bad if you pull one of those in a pack, because you really want your mythics to be worth a lot of money. But some mythics, some rares, they're $50, $100, anywhere in between. But that's only really matters when you go into, as I said, paper magic, because you can't trade or sell cards on Magic Arena at this point. Maybe one day in the future, but currently no way of doing that. But anyways, I don't really want this angelic reward. Yes, it's very good, but that's expensive. You also have to look at, when you're deciding if you want to craft certain cards or when you're building your deck, you want to look at, well, what else am I potentially going to be casting? If I add in one more of these, that means I have to remove something to get it back down to 60 cards instead of 61. Well, what do I want to get rid of? You don't have to get rid of another card that costs 5 mana. You could decide to remove a land. You could decide, you know what, I don't really want this Ceratops in my deck. I'm going to get rid of it. I want to win the game before I get to 7 mana, so I don't think I'm going to need it. You might very well would rather draw this another one of these, even if it's turn 7 and you have 7 mana out, you may want to draw this instead of drawing this guy, because then you can make something fly over, the creatures that are on the battlefield. Possibly your opponent doesn't have flying, or anything that can block something that has flying. So a lot of things you got to think about when you're crafting. It's trial and error a lot of the time. You can always go online and you can look up certain color combinations, certain cards, and see other YouTubers have what they've built. Maybe they've built a really good deck. Maybe they've just built a really fun deck that's fun to play but doesn't win very often. Or maybe some pro just went to a tournament and got first place and went undefeated with a certain deck, and everybody copies that deck. It's entirely possible. It's all really what you want to do. You can play to have fun. You can play to be competitive. You can play to do a little bit of both. It's all really what you want to get out of this game. One last thing we'll go over before we finish up for today. Didn't do it in the last battle. Skipped over it.
You'll get another one every day.
I guess we'll talk about this, actually. We'll talk about this. Bans. Anybody who's not familiar with Magic the Gathering, these were cards that were available to play. Cauldron Familiar, Agent of Treachery, for example, that we could play in Standard, which is the format that is the most prevalent. It's the newest cards. It's continually evolving every single time a new set comes out. It adds into Standard, and then twice a year, Standard rotates. I think it's twice a year. Maybe it's once a year. Standard rotates. I'm not a expert, everybody. Sorry. Standard rotates, so it cuts 3 or 4 of the oldest sets, so they're no longer legal in Standard, and then it adds in a new set and it goes forward for the rest of the year. So when that happens, cards are no longer legal, but sometimes Wizards of the Coast deems some cards to be way too powerful, or the community decides, you know what, we're not having fun. It's not fun to play your game anymore. We're angry. You need to start banning some cards to make us happy. And sometimes Wizards of the Coast does that. Wilderness Reclamation, for example, is one of their most recent bans. It's a 4-mana enchantment, so it just sticks on the battlefield until somebody can remove it. It's not a creature. Can't attack with it, but at the beginning of your end step, you untap all of your lands. That is a very broken card, considering Magic, the entire point of Magic is you need mana or lands in order to tap for mana so that you can cast your spells. And Wilderness Reclamation just basically says, well, don't worry about it. You're just going to always be able to tap your mana or your lands for mana. Doesn't matter if it's your turn. Doesn't matter if it's the opponent's turn. You just always get to have mana available. I personally have never been a fan of this card. I did use it a little bit just because everybody was using it. So if I wanted to win games, I had to build a deck that had this in it. But in my humble opinion, I think this card should never have been printed. And I think cards similar to this that allow you to always have mana and never have to think about mana when you're building the deck or playing your deck, it just takes away something from the game. This is a little bit of a rant that nobody asked for, but just thought I'd give you some insight into how I like to play. If you play with it, or if you have played with it, all the power to you. You could think it's the best card ever and you love it, and that's fine. You're not wrong. I'm not necessarily right. Neither of us are right or wrong. It's just, I think Magic is mainly about prioritizing what you can cast at a certain point, because you're not always guaranteed to have the mana to be able to cast that spell, so you need to manage your resources accordingly. And this card just means you don't have to think about it. You can just do whatever you want, make any mistake you want, and you're not going to get punished because you're just going to have your mana available at the end of your turn for when your opponent decides to do something. And it's just less fun for me. But anyways, a lot of other cards that got banned. I'm not going to go over all of them for you guys because they're banned in a lot of the formats, historic, for example. This one's banned in standard and historic. And so we can't play with them anyways on Magic Arena, so, you know, what are you going to do? Companion mechanics, this is a more advanced kind of mechanic. I'm not going to go into that right now. You guys feel free to read these advertisements and whatnot if you'd like.
There's extra rewards for daily and weekly wins too.
Excellent.
Golly, there's just so much to look forward to.
Alright, guys, so yes, quests are great. You get one a day. You can have up to 3 waiting for you after the third one. If you don't play every day, that's fine. You're not going to necessarily miss out on anything. But if you go onto that 4th day and you haven't claimed any of these, you don't get your 4th one. You just lose out. So you get rewards. So in this case, you get experience and gold in order as soon as you attack with 30 creatures. That could be in 1 game. It could be over 10 games. Doesn't matter. Same thing with casting a certain color of spell. And then as you win, you get your daily rewards. So if you win 15 games, you just get gold every single time you win. This is your weekly experience reward. So if you win 15 games in a week, you get 250 experience points every time you win, which goes towards your mastery pack. But that's where we're going to finish off for today. We'll dive into the next color challenge in our next video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And remember, be bold.